Hello and welcome to our daily news roundup on Atlantic TV. I am Nkechi Tejere. Here are our top stories. FRSC issues nationwide order for proper road sign installation by construction firms. Ahead of 2026 poll, Oyebanji reinstates former commissioners, urges party cohesion. Keyamo says aviation tax reduction must receive collective approval. Son of cartel boss El Chapo enters guilty plea in U.S. drug charges. Trump set to attend FIFA World Cup finals draw on Friday. Now to the news in full. The Federal Road Safety Corps has issued a nationwide order directing all construction companies working on Nigerian roads to immediately install proper road signs at their project sites. The Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed says the directive supports President Bola Tinubu's ongoing efforts to overhaul the nation's road network through widespread construction and rehabilitation. In a statement issued on Monday, FRSC spokesperson Olusegun Ogunbemide explained that the order is meant to protect motorists navigating construction zones. He said companies must install, maintain, and continually update proper signage at every active or inactive site without exception. Mohammed reaffirmed the FRSC's commitment to working with stakeholders to ensure that federal investment in road infrastructure translates into safer travel for all Nigerians. The agency has repeatedly raised concerns about poor or missing signage at construction sites. As far back as 2010, officials warned that the lack of signs, defective diversions, poor lighting, and hazardous road conditions were turning work zones into death traps for unsuspecting drivers. In earlier efforts to address the problem, the FRSC introduced a standard road signage code for construction sites and even inaugurated a signage production facility in Gwagwalada to help contractors comply. The FRSC says enforcement of the new directive begins immediately. The 44th National Council and Annual Conference of Civil Service Commissions has opened in Umuahia, the Abia State capital, with a strong call for professionalism and deeper reforms across the public service. Speaking during the technical session on Monday, Permanent Secretary of the Federal Civil Service Commission, Philip Ebioge, said the conference theme, Repositioning Civil Service Commissions as Hubs of Professionalism, aligns with ongoing public sector reforms. He said participants will be exposed to the expectations of a modern civil service, one that is merit-based, ethical, performance-driven, and citizen-focused. Ebioge emphasized that as the public service evolves with new technological and economic demands, civil service commissions must transform from simple recruitment bodies into strategic human resource institutions, championing merit, career development, and ethical governance. Also speaking, the Permanent Secretary of the Abia State Civil Service Commission, Ekaite Oham, said the theme serves as a wake-up call for federal and state commissions to adopt stronger legislative and administrative measures for functional HR management. She urged participants to commit to implementing recommendations, not just discussing them. The week-long conference, which began on Sunday, is expected to end on Friday with resolutions aimed at strengthening recruitment processes, enhancing training, and deepening professionalism across the civil service. Organizers say outcomes from the conference will help reposition civil service commissions as credible, reform-driven institutions. The Ekiti State Governor, Biodun Oyebanji, has submitted a new list of commissioner nominees to the State House of Assembly for screening. In a statement released on Monday, the governor's media advisor, Olayinka Oyebode, said the move is part of efforts to reconstitute the State Executive Council. According to Oyebode, most of the nominees are the same commissioners who served in the cabinet dissolved on August 10th. He explained that their return followed consultations with the leadership of the All Progressives Congress and other key stakeholders across the state. Oyebode said the APC leadership and critical stakeholders urged the governor to retain the former commissioners, arguing that bringing them in a new team just months before the June 20th, 2026 governorship election could be counterproductive. The statement also noted that party leaders, community heads, and other stakeholders were heavily involved in the original selection and appointment process in 2023. The governor, he added, remains committed to a system that allows communities and the party to play a major role in choosing public office holders, one he believes promotes greater accountability. The State Assembly is expected to begin screening the nominees in the coming days. The political landscape in Osun State has taken a dramatic turn as Governor Adeleke Ademola has formally resigned from the People's Democratic Party, citing unresolved leadership turmoil at the party's national level. In a statement posted on his Instagram page late Monday, Governor Adeleke confirmed that he submitted his resignation to PDP officials in Sagba Agbogunde, Ward 2, Ede North Local Government on November 4, 2025. Quoting his statement, Adeleke said the ongoing crisis within the PDP's national leadership left him with no choice but to withdraw his membership. This development follows earlier indications from the PDP's Osun State chapter that the governor might not seek the party's ticket for the 2026 governorship election unless the internal disputes were resolved. Party leaders had expressed hope that the settlement, one that would also receive recognition from the Independent National Electoral Commission, could keep Adeleke in the race under the PDP platform. But with last night's announcement, the governor's future political direction remains uncertain. The party says his decision could still change if the crisis is resolved within the annexed timeline for the upcoming Osun governorship poll. For now, the PDP faces yet another internal challenge as one of its key figures in the Southwest moves away from the party. An agriculture expert says Nigeria is losing up to $10 billion a year to post-harvest waste. Segun Alabi, CEO of Davidola Nigeria Limited, raised the alarm during a briefing at the National Assembly. Alabi revealed that 30 to 50% of the nation's food production is lost after harvest due to poor storage, bad roads, weak transport systems, and limited processing facilities. He called on the federal government to invest in modern storage, cold chain systems, better rural roads, and farmer training to cut losses and boost food security. He warned that reducing post-harvest waste is critical as food prices continue to rise nationwide. Nigeria's aviation minister, Festus Keyamo, says the removal of taxes in the aviation sector cannot be decided by one person. Speaking in Abuja at an event marking 100 years of aviation in Nigeria, Keyamo stressed that any tax changes must go through collective government approval and legislative review. He explained that despite pressure from industry operators over multiple taxes, the Aviation Ministry does not have the power to scrap statutory levies on its own. Keyamo said decisions on taxation involve the Ministry of Finance, tax authorities, and the National Assembly. The minister noted that President Bola Tinubu has already taken steps to ease the burden on the industry, including excluding aviation from a proposed 4% tax. He added that the presidential team is now reviewing the issue of multiple taxation affecting airline operations. Keyamo also pointed to infrastructure deficits, limited access to finance, and aircraft leasing challenges as major obstacles to aviation growth. Despite these issues, he said Nigeria's market size and strategic location still give the country strong potential for expansion. The minister's comments come as airline operators continue to raise concerns about the high cost of doing business, even as the federal government rolls out a new tax reform law aimed at simplifying and harmonizing the nation's tax structure. We move away now to the foreign scene. One of the sons of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman has pleaded guilty in a Chicago federal court to drug trafficking and running a criminal enterprise. U.S. media reports that Joaquin Guzman Lopez changed his plea on Monday, more than a year after his arrest in Texas. His brother Ovidio also pleaded guilty last year, admitting that he and his siblings, Los Chapitos, took over parts of their father's Sinaloa cartel operations. El Chapo himself is serving a life sentence in the Colorado Supermax prison. In 2024, Guzman Lopez was detained after flying into Texas with cartel co-founder Ismael Mayo Zambada, triggering violent clashes between cartel factions. Officials say the infighting led to thousands of deaths and disappearances. Washington continues to accuse the Sinaloa cartel of flooding the U.S. with fentanyl. The Trump administration has designated the group a global terrorist organization and placed $10 million rewards on two Guzman brothers still at large. Guzman Lopez now awaits sentencing as the U.S. ramps up its pressure on cartel operations. Nigeria has granted asylum to Guinea-Bissau's opposition presidential candidate Fernando Diaz da Costa after he reportedly faced threats to his life following last week's military coup in the country. According to reports, da Costa is now under the protection of the Nigerian embassy in Bissau. The coup was announced on Wednesday last week, coming just days after Guinea-Bissau's presidential election, where both incumbent President Omaro Embalo and his main challenger, Da Costa, claimed victory before official results were released. Nigeria condemned the coup and called for an immediate return to constitutional rule. In a letter to ECOWAS Commission, President Omar Touré, Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuga, confirmed that President Bola Tinubu approved asylum for Da Costa in response to threats made against his life. The letter also requested that the ECOWAS Stabilization Mission provide additional security at the Nigerian embassy. The minister's spokesperson, Al-Qasim Abdul Qadir, verified the letter's authenticity, saying the move aligns with Nigeria's commitment to regional peace, stability, and democratic governance. He described the intervention as necessary to de-escalate tensions and prevent further instability in Guinea-Bissau. Following the coup, ECOWAS had an emergency virtual summit and subsequently suspended Guinea-Bissau from the bloc until constitutional order is restored. For now, Da Costa remains under Nigerian protection as regional leaders push for a political resolution in Guinea-Bissau. And on some sports news, the White House has confirmed that President Donald Trump will attend the FIFA World Cup finals draw in Washington later this week. The United States is set to co-host the 2026 World Cup with Canada and Mexico. Speaking to reporters on Monday, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the president will be at the Kennedy Center on Friday for the official draw. The World Cup has become a major showcase event for Trump's second term, as well as part of preparations for America's 250th independence anniversary next year. But the build-up has not been free of political tension. The president has suggested some U.S. host cities could lose matches, citing concerns over crime and illegal migration in certain Democratic-run areas. For now, attention turns to Friday's draw, which will set the stage for the biggest World Cup tournament ever hosted in North America. Cameroon has dropped two of its biggest stars, Andre Onana and Vincent Aboubakar, from its final squad for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. The surprise omission was highlighted on Monday in the post by football journalist Fabrizio Romano, confirming that both Onana and Aboubakar have been left out of the Indomitable Lions AFCON squad. The decision signals a significant shift for Cameroon, especially with Onana's experience at top European clubs and Abubakar's long-running role as team captain and veteran striker. Their absence suggests the team's leadership is moving in a new direction ahead of the tournament in Morocco. The squad announcement also points to a generational transition, with younger and less established players being given an opportunity to step up on the continental stage. Meanwhile, Onana recently completed a loan move to Turkish side Trabzonspor for the remainder of the 2025-2026 season. With AFCON fast approaching, all eyes will now be on how Cameroon can be revamped. And with that, sports news will come to the end of our daily news roundup for today, right here on Atlantic TV. Please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms for more news stories and headline updates. Thank you so much for watching. I am Kichi Techere. Have a good day.